Hey, Venetia's cutesy squad. So, I was in pain, on my shoulder and in the middle of my tummy, right? So, I went to the hospital, to see if they can help me, right? So, I went in to the ER, emergency, you know, and then I filled out the papers and stuff like that. So, the lady's like, "What do you feel?" And I was like, "Sharp pains on my back and in my stomach," right? So, I went inside and I sat down and they draw blood. So I forgot to tell you the first part when I got really inside the little place, right? So they gave me a little pee bottle. I peed in there, I didn't pee that much because I didn't have that much water to pee in it, right? So I I didn't draw blood in a while, in a while since I was like in middle school or in elementary. So I didn't know what kind of pain it was when you draw blood, right? So I'm asking the guy like, "Are you gonna be fast with it?" He's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Are you gonna put in the needle and take it out, right?" He's like, "Yeah, whatever." So I was like, "Okay." So they did that, right? They draw my blood, and so I'm gonna show you the clip when I was in there, okay? And they gave me I can't remember what kind of drugs they gave me. It was painkillers. That's all I know. And the first doses didn't like relieve the pain, right? And then he came back. He's like, "What is your number, 1 to 10?" I said it was like a 7 to 8 or so, right? So he left, and then he came back, right? And he was like, "Do you have any more pain?" And I was like, "It's still it's 6 to, no, it's actually 7. He's like, "It didn't do anything?" And I was like, "No, I need a stronger dose. So he gave me, I don't remember, it was some big words, of, painkillers, right? So he gave me 2 sets of, painkillers, right? And then he put it, and then he had like the bag, and then it had like the drop, and then it was going into my IV, right? So that was happening, right? And the time when he gave me the first shot, the first doses of the painkillers, it made me drowsy. It made me like want to sleep. The second time, it made me want to sleep even more. So, he's like, "I'm gonna take you to the X-ray, right?" So we went down to the X-ray, and he was X-raying my chest area and my arm to see if anything is wrong with it, right? Because I'm excruciating in pain, right? So I'm thinking my arm is broken. The lady's like, so she was like, "You didn't broke anything, you just sprained your arm. You just picked up something was heavy and it hurted your arm. That's why you're in pain, right?" They're like, the stomach part is maybe you didn't, maybe you just have like, gas or something like that. So, yeah. So I'm going to show you like the video or part of the video because I had it, I couldn't like lift my other arm. I couldn't lift this arm because it hurted. This arm, the IV was in, so I couldn't really move that one that much. So I'm going to show you a little bit of footage here and there, when I have the IV in my hand and how my face looked like, in the hospital. I was in so much pain. I couldn't sit on the bed on this one side. So they was like, "Can you lay down?" I was like, "It's going to hurt. So they was like, "Don't lay on this side, just lay on the part where you're comfortable," right? So I lay on that side, and then I needed a pillow. First they was trying to lay me on this side, and I was in so much pain. So they give me a pillow, and they put it on my head, and then I start laying this way, right? they thinking that I slept wrong. That's why my hand hurts. So, and it sounds like that I pulled a muscle. So that's the real reason why I went to the hospital. That, because I thought my arm was broken, but it was like about the stomach part. It was like in so many pain, you know. Remember when I told you that story when I was like in a lot of pain, you know, on the left side or so? So yeah, they gave me medicine and that's it. The lady's like, no, you just sprain it, you know. You just sprain it, you know. You sprain your muscle too much, right? And that's why you're feeling this kind of pain, right? So I was like, okay, you know. So I'm like getting like I'm getting x-rayed, right? And I had to take off my bra and put it on the corner and then put on that big gown, right? So he's taking my x-rays and seeing if anything is really wrong with me. So after that, we went back into the room I was in, sat down. So he's like, I gotta like do a CAT scan on you, you know? And I was like, okay, you know. Keep in mind, I never did an x-ray before. I think I did when I was like in elementary because I broke my leg. And then we had to go to a CAT scan, right? So I was like, what is a CAT scan, you know? He's like, you just go into this like a little sliding table. You lay on that and it pushes you inside and it like circle around you, right? And I was like, okay. I was like, it's not gonna hurt, right? He's like, no, it's not gonna hurt. It's just gonna cause you to cough, sneeze, and all these other stuff. So let me get like, can you like do your signature when I did tell you what's gonna happen to you, you know? So I was signing it, right? And then he was like, okay, so try to get on to that table. Keep in mind, I never had an X-ray, a CAT scan before. So the table is cold, you know. So I got on the table. He slid me closer to like the big circle thing, right? And then he used the IV to put this tube inside me, and I didn't feel it at first, you know. And then when I went inside the little tube, the little circle thing, then it started to like do something inside the tube. It was doing something, and it was like almost, it was not like shocking me, but it was like going throughout my body, you know, and that was painful, you know. I'm trying to like stay still, but it was like hurting so bad, right? So that happened, right? So I was like, I didn't want to look inside the little circle thing just in case it'll like mess up my eyes or so. So I'm closing my eyes, you know, having this IV and the thing coming through my body. He's like, you're gonna feel like you almost peeing yourself, but you're not really peeing yourself, you know. So I was like, okay, you know. So when he was like starting the thing there, the little circle CAT scan, I felt like that table was getting hot. And this is the first time I ever had a CAT scan. I didn't know the table was supposed to get hot, you know. It was getting like very hot, you know. So he did like, I think 2 or 3 rotation of the CAT scan thing for me, you know. And then I came out, and then I went back into the room I was in, you know. And I was like, mother, I told my mom, that's the weirdest thing happened, you know. She's like, I was like, the table got hot and stuff like that. She's like, the table don't supposed to get hot. Why you didn't tell him? I was like, I don't know. Maybe it was supposed to get hot. I don't know. But it made me feel weird, you know. So she was like, last time I got a CAT scan, the table wasn't supposed to get hot. And I was like, I don't know. This is the first time and the last time I'm going to do it. Because that was painful, you know. She was like, okay. So they came back, you know, and they was like, are you feeling more pain, right? And I was like, yeah. So they gave me another set of the painkillers, right? At this time, my mom was like, don't keep asking them because then they'll think you a druggie, right? So I was like, you need to give me like the strong one to knock it out, you know? That's what I'm assuming, you know? She's like, if you tell them that, they'll think you're on drugs, you know? And I was like, I'm not on drugs or anything like that. So that happened, right? And then it was almost time for me to go home, right? Because apparently they didn't see nothing in my CAT scan, and on my back the x-ray didn't come out nothing. It was all good, you know. But then she came back before she said I was gonna be released. She's like, she told me a big story. I mean, not something is like something is in my blood, you know. Of course, y'all say AIDS or anything like that, but no, I can't eat too much sugar, diabetes. So they're like, did you know you had diabetes? And I was like, what? Me? I was like, because I thought they was gonna say, oh, you're pregnant. You know, I was like, I ain't pregnant. But look, that's the whole big story they wanted. That's the big thing they wanted to tell me, that I have diabetes. You know. And they was asking me questions. Did you know you had diabetes or anything like that? I was like, no, I didn't know I had diabetes. You know. She was like, when you tested your blood, it was running in. You got diabetes. You know. And I was like, she was explaining what is diabetes. You know, it's like when your sugar stays in one side, in one area, and it builds up. And my diabetes was really high, you know, or something like that. I don't know, or was it my blood sugar? Yeah, it was blood sugar or something like that. So it was very high, you know. And then she was like, yeah, and then she was like checking my chest area, you know, with the little thing there you put on your side, and she was like breathing and stuff like that, you know. So I was breathing in. She's like, yeah. So that was happening. I was like, yeah. And then after that, she was like, oh, you gotta like we're gonna release you because there's nothing wrong with you, you know. You just have diabetes. So she was explaining to me to like, what are you supposed to do for diabetes? You gotta go to a doctor and give him this piece of paper, and he will like release your little things, your little paperwork or something like that, right? And I was like, okay, you know. She's like, drink water as well, you know. So I was like, okay. He did that, and he was doing the needle and stuff like that, you know. I'm thinking that when I got in there, I'm thinking that they're gonna give me a lot of drugs and knock these pains out. No, they had to draw blood and give me some painkillers and stuff like that.